Hi everybody.
Hello there.
Jerry.
And Linda.
We're the village's newcomers. Look at that plane behind us. That's the Tico Belle. It's a C-47. That plane actually dropped troops over Normandy during D-Day. That is the plane of choice for the United States military in World War II. It's a troop transport. Today it's going to be taking 88 jumpers from the Phantom Airborne over to Lake Dora, where they're going to actually jump into the water. And I'm going to be up in the air with them.
But he's not going to jump.
I'm not going to jump today. I'd like to, though.
No.
But no, I'm not going to jump. Linda's going to be on the ground getting footage from the ground. And what an experience. Such a storied plane. What a history. And we're going to try to bring it to you. What an honor to be part of the 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment reunion jump that was hosted by the Phantom Airborne Brigade. They're from Zephyr Hills, Florida. A bright sunny day. We met in Leesburg at the airport. 88 enthusiastic veteran jumpers ready to go. Oh, the stories they can tell. That's the Tico Belle. It's a C-47. This plane actually saw action on D-Day in Normandy in World War II.
Well, you're here at the May 1st Ranger jump put on by Phantom Airborne Brigade. We have approximately 88 jumpers going out this afternoon in 4 lifts, jumping into Lake Dora. Time on target will be, the first lift will be approximately 11 o'clock. You know, if you didn't show up, you missed something.
The Tico Belle and planes like her were critical to the Allies' success in World War II, dropping those troops into battle, but they could also tow gliders. You can see it's quite empty inside. It's going to be hauling in today 22 jumpers. Getting ready for a jump like this is no joke. I know I played this up a little bit, all these gyrations these guys are going through, but they're practicing in the event of jumping into traffic, onto power lines, into the water. They've jumped hundreds and hundreds of times already, and they still want to get their routines down just right before this big jump into the water. These paratroopers have been to many different campaigns: Grenada, Panama, Iraq, Afghanistan. Couldn't do it without her.
Hello, I'm John Mackinson. I'm with the Valiant Air Command, and I'm one of the captains of the C-47 that'll be flying these round canopy jumpers today and jumping them into Lake Dora. This airplane was built as a C-47 for the U.S. Army Air Corps. It did 3 missions on D-Day. Then it served in the Battle of the Bulge. It did the Berlin airlift and many other things. After the war, it went to Norway. And then it went to Denmark, and it was the Queen of Denmark's personal airplane. And then after that, it was mothballed for a while, and then it came back to the U.S., and the Valiant Air Command went through her and got her flying again many years ago. Well, we're going to do four flights today, total of 8 drops. So we'll drop 2 sticks on each flight, and it shouldn't take more than 15 minutes per flight to do this. And of course, the time will be spent loading and getting everybody ready in the airplane before we can depart again.
This is Doc Riska, and he's on the 4th flight today. I watched you when you're warming up. You take the warm-up very seriously. You were going through all the gyrations, and you got some good moves there. Are you looking forward to the jump?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the jump. Some of these guys haven't jumped in 30, 40 years. It's a bunch of Rangers getting together. We're going to have a good time. It's always safety first, and yeah, it's going to be a good time.
This is Fred. Fred's going to be making the jump today. Which jump are you on?
The last stick. We're in the last stick.
Now Fred is 87 years young, and you're still jumping out of airplanes?
Yeah.
When did you make your first jump? How many jumps?
Jump school in April 1966.
Any idea how many jumps under your belt?
I counted 140 while I was with active duty.
Well, what are you going to do when you hit that water?
Oh, it's going to get wet and wait for the boat.
Just going to get wet and wait for the boat. How about that, Fred? 87 years old. These jumpers came from all across the country today for this jump. You can see they're excited. Notice the life vests. Some are blue, some are red. That'll be helpful after that parachute hits the water. A lot of the jumpers are wearing their own GoPros. They want to get some action footage of this event. A lifetime memory today. Hot day. Get out of the sun and wait for your turn to jump. There'll be 4 jumps. That's because the plane only holds 22. And each one of these jumpers will be, including their own body weight, carrying about 300 pounds. Well, here I go. As it sits on the runway, that plane is at quite an angle. As it rolls down the runway on the way to take off, that back end will raise up and the plane will level out. And then it'll be off into the wild blue yonder. On D-Day, this plane dropped members of the U.S. Army 82nd Airborne near the town of Saint-Mire-Inglis. They were there to secure the areas that were necessary to enable the advancement of troops that landed on the beaches. If you've ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan, it was an amazing feat. The Tico Belle was also involved in the Battle of Market Garden. Some of you remember that was a battle where we deceived the Germans by dropping little dummies with parachutes to make the Germans think that we had dropped thousands of paratroopers and pull their armies away from certain areas that we needed to invade. Everyone is a veteran with a jump certification. That's the only reason I didn't jump today. Just kidding. See, they're walking uphill a little bit because of the angle of this plane. They'll all sit. They're facing the rear of the plane, just as if they were going to ride a bobsled. Pilots getting ready. There's not an ounce of padding on this plane. Notice all the steel exposed everywhere. You don't want to bump into anything here. It'll leave a mark. Outdoor temperature about 90 degrees. Indoors here in the plane at about 20. I'm doing my best to stay out of the way. I'm a guest here today. These guys are the real deal. The fellas in the red shirts are the jump masters, and they'll be kind of organizing people and then helping them get off the plane. This is a static line jump. All of these paratroopers will have their parachutes connected to a cable that runs the length of the plane, and as they jump and that cable becomes tight, it will yank the parachute right out of their pack. Here we go, cranking up those engines. At this point, I'm thinking that one's not working too good. Come on, baby. There we go. Uh-oh. Come on. Those white stripes were the markings that indicated to our troops that that's a friendly plane. Sometimes called the albatross, affectionately known as the Goonie bird to some. That cockpit's in original shape, just like it was in World War II, but they've had some extra GPS Garmin aviation help in there. I was a little nervous when I saw the pilots holding hands before takeoff. No, I'm just kidding. They're working together on that stick. Think about during D-Day. These jumpers are just going to jump into a lake. On D-Day, they were jumping into hostile territory. All of them didn't make it back. Half the jumpers will go out the plane, then the other half will stand up, move to the right side, and clip onto that cable. General Dwight Eisenhower thought these planes were one of our top assets during the war. There they go. Amazing. The other group is up. The plane's going to do a circle, come back to that same area, and they'll jump down with their buddies. Out they go. Lake Dora and the wonderful little town of Mount Dora. And there's quite a crowd on the banks of the lake to welcome these jumpers into the water. More than that though, there's a whole fleet of volunteers out there with boats to fish our guys out. And here we come back to the Leesburg Airport. We're going to land and there's going to be 3 more runs of jumpers. Yeah. Great job done by the pilots, the jump masters, fantastic. And look at that baby rolling back in after a successful mission. It'll be a quick offload and an onload of the next group, and off they'll go. That is a beautiful plane, isn't it? I'm going to hightail it off the plane. Linda and I are going to jump in the car and drive about 20 minutes to Lake Dora, where we will get out and hopefully hook up with one of those boats and go out and rescue some of today's jumpers. That C-47 is actually a militarized version of that classic Douglas DC-3, an early airliner. There we go. Feet are back on the ground. And these anxious jumpers are boarding the plane, gonna make their drops in just a few minutes. The first 3 sets of jumpers will jump from about 1,500 feet. The last one is supposed to be about 700, a low altitude jump. The Tico Belle will be traveling over there at about 140 miles an hour. When we pulled into the Lake Dora area, we could see the jumpers from the next batch all coming softly down into the water. See them up there? Now we've arrived at the lakeside, and here are some of the boats bringing in people from that jump.
Now we're out on Lake Dora. We've hitchhiked with Ron and Tony and Stacy, and we're on their pontoon boat. There's a group about to jump. We're going to rescue a couple of jumpers and head in.
So we'll sit here as they come by for another pass, and we'll pick out one of those jumpers when they hit the water and go over and try to help them in. Really appreciate Ron and Tony letting us go out with them today. Lake Dora is the same lake where Linda and I went on our float plane adventure. Here she comes, and they're out. In the bright sunshine, it is hard to video because of the reflection. Luckily, we got a little bit of the plane in the picture. But there they are, on their way down. This is where that coaching came into effect earlier to keep them away from any danger. They can steer these parachutes. There's our guy. Those parachutes are extremely heavy after they get wet. We'll haul that parachute back up onto the boat. The jumper will climb in with us and we'll take him to the shoreline. Such a nice community affair to have these folks volunteer. And
last name? My name is Matt Hay, H-A-Y.
Everybody working together to make this a great event and to keep these jumpers safe and provide a little entertainment for the townspeople. Remember, the planes make 2 passes. Half the jumpers get off the first pass and the other half the second pass. These jumpers are like Easter eggs. You got to pick one out and go get them and hope nobody beats you to them. In this case, we got there second. I'll tell you, having a pontoon boat around Lake Dora looks like a pretty good life to me. Another jumper safely rescued.
You just jumped out of a perfectly good airplane.
Well, if you have any familiarity with military aircraft, they're not always perfectly good aircraft. Makes a lot of crazy noises.
How was the experience?
It was unbelievable. It's the first time I've ever jumped out of a C-47 like that. We did C-130, C-141s, helicopters, but that was my first one with an antique aircraft like that. Very light opening shock. It was perfect weather. The wind was perfect. They dropped us perfectly on the drop zone. My boat team was there, right, waiting for me, and I couldn't have had any better experience.
What's your military history?
I was 4 years in 3rd Ranger Battalion. I was in Operation Just Cause, the invasion of Panama. We parachuted in there, and it was just a great experience, and I've made some lifelong friends with it.
just made the pickup, and we're going to end our day right here on this beautiful pontoon boat. We picked up one of the jumpers. It was a great day. That C-47 is incredible. That's the Tico Belle. It saw service in Normandy in World War II. All those guys are heroes. They're ex-military.
Absolutely.
It was a beautiful day. Glad you came along with us.
Until next time.
See you when you get here.